Welcome everybody back to the first post World Series Dong City, November 17th, the episode 71, the Josh Hader edition. As you can see, we have a guest who's ready to gloat, man. He's ready to gloat. He's ready to kick everyone's ass and talk all this shit. We got Pedro Rigos and we got our main man Vince Mercandetti. How you gentlemen doing today?
I'll let you go first, Pedro, because this is your moment. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing good. Still can't believe we won the World Series, man. Awesome.
Congratulations, man.
Appreciate it.
We are in a time machine back to the mid '90s at this point. Braves win the World Series. So I mean, I'll intro this in. For everyone who's joining, we have a full show today. We're going to start off with Pedro. Want to talk about the Braves, wrap up the World Series, give our send off to the Braves as we do with teams who win and lose in the playoffs. And then we'll get to the moves that have already happened. There's been now a pretty good mix. Justin Verlander doing us a favor earlier today. And then after that, we will get to Henry and I just kind of giving predictions and a breakdown as far as what we think will happen the rest of the winter from a hot stove standpoint. We will not get into CBA type stuff today, so you all can feel relieved about that.
Oh, it's coming.
But yeah, well, plenty of time throughout the offseason to talk about that, probably into like May and June. So
exactly, a lot of time.
But for now, all happy stuff, exciting stuff. Hot stove, my favorite time of year when the Yankees are not playing. So let's get into it here. Pedro, you've got your winning.
Before we continue, I do want to say in our life group podcast kind of tracker that we had going, I was the one. I didn't have the most points. I think I had the second most points because I had the Yankees going all the way. But I did have the Braves going the furthest. So I'll take that victory lap.
You sure did.
I remember that now. You had them losing the World Series, right?
I did. I had them. Yeah.
Which is one round further than I had them winning. So yeah, absolutely. I think you're the only one who had the Braves in the World Series. So kudos for that. Pedro, did you make postseason predictions when the playoffs started?
I did. I had us winning over Milwaukee. I had the Dodgers. And I had us losing against the Dodgers again, and I had the Dodgers against honestly, I had the White Sox.
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna say you went safe until the White Sox, but okay.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. My postseason was a complete disaster. I had the Rays in the World Series that failed. I had the Dodgers, I think, in the World Series. I had the Giants in the World Series. That also failed equally. So did a heck of a job. And of course, I always picked against the Braves because they have always failed. And now look at us. So let's get into it here, Pedro, because the narrative in my head is first time in 26 years, right? And as you know, I have harassed you for years about how the Braves run their front office, which is essentially signing everyone to 1-year deals. Ozzie Albies will be on food stamps in 10 years. Acuna owes them like 4 more torn hamstrings to make up for his salary. And finally this season, you guys go and you sign Marcell Ozuna to that multi-year deal, like very Braves-like, along with Drew Smyly and Charlie Morton to traditional 1-year deals. And it immediately blows up in Atlanta's face because
Tell me about it, man.
Yeah, like a giant piece of shit. He has no impact whatsoever on your turnaround. And then you go and you sign a bunch of guys to these rental deals, and they end up winning you the World Series along with homegrown Austin Riley and Freddie Freeman. So tell me about that. Like, how did you feel going into this season? How did you feel when the injuries started piling up? And what did you think of the trade deadlines when they happened?
Going into the season, I like the moves we did in the offseason. I thought signing Charlie Morton would help with our starting rotation depth, especially look what it did to us against the Dodgers last year in the NLCS. Ian Anderson and Max Fried carried us most of the part, and we needed that other starting rotation, that other pitcher that we didn't have. So, I mean, I thought there were some pretty good signings, but ultimately we dealt with injuries during the season. Once started with Ozuna and then Acuna, and then Ozuna, and then I was like, damn. Like, when Acuna tore his ACL, I was like, this is done, man. This is really bad. We lost our superstar in the team. And I was like, how you can't replace Ronald Acuna for sure with no player. So what Alex Anthopoulos did during the trade deadline was phenomenal. If you tell me we would have won the World Series with these trade deadline moves, I wouldn't say yes, we did. We would go this far. So I was like, man, but those moves played out. And the Braves, keep in mind, they played 500 baseball. They couldn't go over actually 500 baseball throughout the season. We were like below 500 till like August. And after these players that just started clicking in till the end of the season, we went on that road trip against San Diego. We had three games against San Diego. We swept them in San Diego, and then we had the Phillies, and we swept them 2 at home. That's when I think everything started clicking with the team. But this run it's literally magical. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I've got a close friend who's a Braves fan. Yeah, so close. We used to live together. He's my wedding party and everything. And I think it was like 8 or 9 times in a row the Braves tried to go over 500 and lost every single time. I remember that was like a theme. He would text me every single time and they would lose. It was like a curse almost. And then finally it was, I think there was like a 7-game winning streak or 7 out of 8 or something that came in there. And all of a sudden, it was very like 2019 Nationals. Although I always say that's a terrible comparison because you guys lost an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
And had 3 more, which is crazy. I mean, Austin Riley, obviously Braves fans mostly had to be high on him, right? He was a big time prospect. Did you ever expect this type of season this quickly?
I did not expect this type of season this quickly for Austin Riley. There was a lot of impatient Braves fans for Austin Riley. He was never consistent with his hitting, and he couldn't hit a slider for shit. Sorry my language, but he couldn't hit sliders. He had a lot of problems on the plate. He was pretty good with the glove, but he wasn't very disciplined on the plate. And I know Chipper Jones has a lot to do with his development. He coaches him a lot and trains him, in the batting cages and stuff. So whatever Chipper Jones is doing, the Hall of Famer, he did a phenomenal job with Austin Riley. I mean, the man batted over 300 during the season, 100 and I think 7 RBIs, 33 home runs. He had a phenomenal year, and that carried into the playoffs too. He was phenomenal in the playoffs. He came with a lot of clutch hits.
He turned himself into an MVP candidate.
Yeah, definitely.
And I remember that kind of slant too. My friend had an issue with, like, Austin Riley was not mentioned in MVP candidacy anywhere. It was like Soto, Harper, and then like it might as well have been no one else. And you look at his stats, Tatis, right? You look at his stats, he had a really, really good season. I think it almost hurt that Freddie Freeman was also on the team because he could have thrown him in. Like, those 2 guys are probably top 5 MVP candidates, and I feel like they weren't. Like, Riley wasn't even mentioned in the top like 7 or 8. So it had to be. It's a giant FU year for you, right? Like, I know you're not one to talk shit, but do you have anything to say to Mets fans or Phillies fans or anyone?
Wait! Before you eat humble pie, just know Jacob and Joey are talking shit in the comments. So
yeah, they're here, they're watching. So what do you have to say about all this?
Well, I mean, I don't want to hear about the choking artists. The Braves are choking anymore and all this going into next season because we won the World Series. And Alex Anthopoulos did a phenomenal job. And we won the World Series without Ronald Acuna, which is scary, Mets fans. So once we get Ronald Acuna back and everybody, Alex Anthopoulos is going to make a couple of moves there. Might add a couple of strong right-handing pitchers into the bullpen because our lefties are strong there in the bullpen. I think the Braves are going to roll, man. And now that these young guns, Ian Anderson, Max Fried got a playoff experience, I think our division is ours. And now, the Nationals won the World Series, but they won it later down the road, and they were getting older, and that team was falling apart. The Braves still got everybody intact. So I think this team is going to be very competitive with the Dodgers, the Padres, and a couple of AL teams there for the World Series to win it again.
Thank you, I will tell you, be very careful with that line of thinking. Ask the Cub fans. Ask the Cub fans. You got to be real careful with that line of thinking, brother. That shit can go south fast.
It definitely can, Henry. I'm not going to deny that, but I have faith in the Atlanta organization. I just think we got to stop being cheap. The owners.
We've been saying that for years here.
Yeah, that's something as a Braves fan that I hate. Owners are cheap, and I hate it. But I mean, hopefully, winning the World Series changes everybody in that in the upper management and everything, and we just make the right moves, and we're not cheap. I mean, if we got to sign free agents, for key positions, I feel like they got to go for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, look, they proved me wrong, right? That was my main criticism for the Braves for years, and I was right for years, for the record.
Yeah,
But this year happens, they proved me wrong. They did the exact thing they always do, and this time it won a World Series improbably. I mean, I don't think anyone, 88 wins, division winner. No one had them as a juggernaut. It all came together. That's what you have to do to win a World Series. I agree with you though. This team is very well set up for the next several years. As Henry mentioned, it doesn't mean anything, unfortunately. I think the years of dynasties are basically over. Yeah. Look at the Dodgers too. Everyone thought easy repeat didn't happen for them either. So, but yeah, you are definitely set up very well.
Another thing, I'll repeat it because I feel like I repeat this over and over and over for the stammering idiots that always cry about, a salary cap, and how you have the same teams in baseball winning over and over again. You put baseball up against any sport, you have more winners that win the championship from different teams than you do in any sport in the last 20 years, period.
And 20 consecutive years of no back-to-back titles now. Thank you.
I don't want to hear it. Parity exists in baseball. You don't need a salary cap. You need to force these teams to stop being cheap and give them a salary floor and keep it moving.
I agree.
But like Vince said, we have a lot to talk about that because we're going to talk about numbers and deals and lockouts and scab players and all kinds of crazy shit because we're in for a long winter.
Yeah. Nuclear winter. So parting words, Pedro, a quick thought on Charlie Morton and TDA coming back to the Braves. That's already been decided. Are you excited about that? Is that neither here nor there? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. I love those signings. I want TDA back. I know we have a couple of prospects coming in there. Shea Langelier, and we have in the minors. He's going to be awesome. He's a great defensive catcher. He might be one of the top defensive catchers coming into the game, maybe developing later. And we also have William Contreras. We also, I like TDA for 2 years. Let's see what our prospects do. And I like the Charlie Morton signing. I know he broke his leg. But he has a tremendous amount of guts. He struck out Altuve with a broken leg. I mean, you got to give the man. He has heart. A lot of experience, and mostly he's good to be. The younger pitchers. It's good to have him around. In the clubhouse. Yeah, the mentor.
I tell you, you had me at striking out Altuve. You just had me right there. I do want to get your feelings on one more thing before we let you go.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman deal. I mean, once you guys traded away Ball, I just assumed the Freddie Freeman deal would work itself out. I didn't think it would take this long, to be honest with you.
Listen, this is going back to ownership again. If Freddie Freeman walks away, blame the shit on ownership. Is not on Alex Anthopoulos at all. Ownership is the fault. It would be at fault for this. Yeah, I know Alex Anthopoulos wants to get this deal done, but ownership is holding him back more. This should have been done a long time ago. I say, he's 32. Freddie Freeman is everything for the organization of the Braves. Freddie Freeman leaves, we're going to step back a little bit because, replacing Freddie Freeman is going to be very hard. You would probably need like a guy like Anthony Rizzo, and, you don't want to get into a bidding war with the Yankees.
You can have Anthony Rizzo if it means Freddie Freeman's a free agent.
Yeah,
How
I'll
about
make that trade.
If you guys take Freddie Freeman from us, which there's rumors out there, then, I'll happily take Rizzo. But Freddie Freeman leaving will crush my heart,
Not only that, it would be the ultimate slap in the face to the fan
It
base.
will be the ultimate slap in the face, and this is all ownership's fault if he leaves.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's a Marlins move.
Especially after winning the World Series.
Not anymore.
That's what I mean. You can't be tearing down franchise cornerstones after you win a World Series. It's not acceptable.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for one. Is it a playoff beard or is this just what we're going with?
It was a playoff beard.
Definitely. Yeah, I like it, man. It looks good on you. You had it groomed. That's a championship beard.
Pedro did no shave September, October, and November. That's impressive.
Exactly. Oh, that's been going a while. Yeah.
That championship beard, man. There's still champagne in that joint.
Oh yeah, you got to shampoo it and everything.
Awesome. Well, see you in the life groups. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations on the World Series.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good luck going for the
Go get some Braves fans and bring them to the group.
I will for sure. Thank you.
That's a good one. So that was Pedro joining us, our resident Braves. He's by far, I think, the most prominent Braves fan in life groups, right?
He was nice about it too, because he could have gloated, and I know he really wanted to, but I think he was nice about it.
I think the New York blood in both of our veins kind of wanted it more, but yeah, it's not Pedro's style. I respect that too.
Let the Yankees win the chip. I want to be the biggest asshole.
I will promise this to everyone who's watching, everyone in the life groups. If the Yankees win the World Series anytime, as long as the life groups are living, I have literally paragraphs for every single team I will talk shit about. Every team in Major League Baseball, I will talk shit about if the Yankees win the World Series. So that's what you have to look forward to. You can continue to root against the Yankees and deny that you do it, and that's how it works.
I do like Pedro's plan about getting Anthony Rizzo. I like that. Make that happen, because that means Freddie Freeman's on the market, and there's no better fit than the Yankees.
It'd be a dream. And that's a good segue because we get into here. Hot stove, it's an interesting winter so far because things are happening really quickly, because you're kind of going to run into this. Yeah, you're running into this line here in the sand for players. It's the difference between players who want to make sure they're getting paid while they go into the CBA situation and players who are going to wait it out and probably sign in like March, maybe even April, depending on how long this goes. So you're having rapid fire deals right now. It's not going to be all of them, but we've seen, we'll go down the line. We'll talk about each one real quick, and then we'll kind of talk about the guys who are still out there and try and piece this together. But we'll start with the most recent news. Earlier today, Ben Verlander announcing that his brother, Justin Verlander, is returning to the Astros.
Is that really his brother?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I'm actually Facebook friends with Ben. I've sent him idle messages from time to time to come on our show, but now his show is significantly larger, so it'll probably never happen. But this is before he had his own podcast. But yeah, that is his brother, younger brother. And Justin Verlander returning the Astros. I think, if I saw this correctly, 2 years, $50 million, right? $25 million a year.
Was it 2 years or 1 year, 25?
I thought it was 2, but maybe it's 1. Someone let us know.
Yeah, the last thing I saw was 1 at 25, which I get it. He wants a little more than the qualifying offer, but you're right. It is 2 year 50. Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, that is a lot of. So here's the thing.
50 guaranteed. There's no that's guaranteed money.
Crazy. I had said a few days ago I was okay in certain circumstances with Justin Verlander going to the Yankees, depending on what the contract looked like. And in my mind, I was like, if you have a front-loaded contract, like 25 million year one, and then you had like a $5 to $10 million team option in year 2. So it came out to like a 2-year, $30-40 million deal. I could be okay with that, because I think that Verlander is a freak of nature. Generally, year 1 after TJ is not great, but year 2, maybe there's something left. You get him for cheap, and the AAV is beneficial that way. That said, 2 years, $50 million, I would have been irate if he was going to go to the Yankees at that price. That's way too much money.
And it's not like the numbers aren't. It's 25 each season. I just think that's a gross overpay. Yeah,
and a player option, Corey tells us, for year 2, which to me is insult to injury, because like Justin's not walking from that 25 million. I'd be shocked.
He'll be 39 at that point. No way.
Yeah.
So now you have a rotation full of a 38-year-old Verlander coming off Tommy John surgery. Zach Greinke, who just limped across the finish line last year.
Does Greinke have a year left, or is he a free agent?
I don't think he's a free agent. I'll double check. But
yeah, I got to check on that. I thought he was in a walk year for some reason, but you're right. I mean, even so, you got 2 guys who are pushing 40 in the front of that rotation. Look, the Astros get it done. I mean, they find their way into the playoffs, and they find their way to be a pest in.
You are correct. He's a free agent.
Greinke's a walk. I remember, because my doomsday scenario for the Astros was the end of 2021. That entire franchise falls apart, because you've got Yuli as a free agent, I'm pretty sure, as well.
I don't know
Correa,
why.
Obviously,
I don't know why I thought Zach was still on the contract.
Yeah, no, Correa free agent, and then Verlander and Greinke were going to be free agents. So that was a big loss. Verlander's now back in a different circumstance. Look, I mean, they have Alvarez, they have Tucker, they have Bregman, they have the declining years of Altuve, but they're still going to be good. I'm not going to, and they have these young pitchers, by the way, who I think a few of them could be pretty good. But yeah, this team's getting weaker every year to me. is how I look at it.
Yuli's still signed for 1 more year.
Okay, so he's in a walk here now. So
Which-
yeah, I mean they're
so-
going to be around.
$8 million for Yuli. Come on.
Yeah, this is why the Astros have the payroll they do and compete at the way that they do. They're a smart organization, even with the cheating. Noah Syndergaard, kind of a similar vein as Justin Verlander. This is a guy who didn't pitch last year. Noah didn't pitch the year before that either.
Yeah.
And
Was it 2 innings in 2 years?
Yeah, and he's going to the Angels. We're going to talk about the Mets multiple times tonight. This is the first time. This is a weird situation where I feel like everyone made a terrible decision. Like the Mets let Noah walk. The Mets were okay with Noah coming back at 18-4, but they let him walk at 21, which to me is a little weird given that Steve Cohen basically is like, hey, we have an unlimited payroll. And by the way, the CBA is expiring, so we don't even know what the ramifications are. Yeah. But they let Noah walk, and now the Mets, who ended up having a pretty depleted rotation by the end of the year from injuries, have lost another option there. I don't think it's franchise altering. I don't think it's going to kill the Mets at all. It's just a weird decision to me to walk over $3 million for your guy. And then for the Angels to sign him as a qualified, he declined the qualified offer. So Angels are going to get punished for this. Mets are going to get a little bit of collateral. And you're signing him for $21 million, and it's the Angels, who are just arguably the second worst organization in baseball at developing pitchers.
Yeah, I disagree with one portion of that statement. I agree that the Angels portion of it was foolish. I agree that from a value perspective, it was foolish from Noah, because I think if there's a place you want to go reestablish your value, that Angels team is not it. That is not the place you want. If that's the case, you go to Tampa Bay, pick up the phone, pick up the phone, call Tampa Bay. Even if you take a little less than a qualifying offer, you go somewhere where you can reestablish your value and get that multi-year deal. I do disagree about the Mets. I think the Mets had the best option for them. They gave him the qualifying offer. They've paid him for 2 seasons, and he's given them nothing. So they've already paid him over $20 million for 2 seasons. He's done nothing. They gave him the qualifying offer. And from what I read in the Post today, they never came back to the Mets and said, hey, we got this offer from LA. I don't think I blame the Mets on that one.
That last part's perfectly fair. If he really just didn't give them a shot to re-sign, there's nothing you can do about that. As far as the other part, it's more for me, we see what the Mets will do with this $9.7 million or whatever he made in 2021.
I will tell you one thing. Sorry, cut you off. I'll tell you one thing. The Mets actually did him a favor, because I guarantee you, if they didn't offer him the qualifying offer, he wouldn't have gotten that much money. There's no way he would have, because he had the qualifying offer as leverage.
Yeah.
So there's no way
the market might have been bigger. There's
no way he would have gotten that kind of money had they not given him the qualifying offer.
Yeah, but more so goes to my third point, which is that for Noah, I think it was the worst decision of all. Yet, so here's the thing, and this was a brief argument when this came down that I was having, is that yes, he secured himself $2.6 million extra dollars. This is a man who has made tens of millions of dollars already, even before he entered any sort of free agency. He's 29 years old. So yes, there's obviously injury concerns, but this isn't a guy who is Justin Verlander, for example, in the twilight of his career, having these major injuries. He may very well have a lot of tread left. And he took $2.6 million, to your point, Henry, to go to a team who is not known for getting career years out of guys in a division that is probably not my top choice, as far as where pitchers go. In an AL that is guaranteed DH, I think we'll have a universal DH, but the AL is guaranteed to have it. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to do a pillow deal, in my mind, he's taking $2.6 million, and he's potentially costing himself tens of millions, because even if he had 130 solid innings next year for any organization, you want to go to a Tampa or a Houston or a Dodgers or any of the Giants, any of those franchises with massive pitcher parks. Obviously the Mets are one of them. And you want to pitch there, and you want to have a great year, and then you want to get your 3 or 4 year deal. And I feel like he's putting himself in the worst position for that. And that matters way more to me than $2.6 million if I'm a guy who has $20 million in my bank account.
I totally agree. And if you're the Angels, why on earth would you get a guy coming off injury who's been limited in innings when you already have Ohtani that you have to baby? So
Mhm.
now you have 2/3 of your rotation. Just you're going to babysit them. Well,
This is what the Angels do. This is what the Angels. This is what they do.
This is their current rotation: Otani, Syndergaard, Patrick Sandoval, Jose Suarez, and Reed Detmers. I'm sorry, that does nothing for me. Adding
Is
Syndergaard
Bundy
to that,
gone already?
huh?
Dylan Bundy gone?
He's not listed, so
He might be a free agent.
that's just it's a foolish move. The Angels were better off getting a Zach Greinke. I'm sorry, he's cheaper, and you'll probably get more innings out of him.
Or go in on like a Stroman even would be like get just something with Robbie Ray.
Stroman's going to the Yankees confirmed after his last tweets.
They spend 200 plus million on Anthony Rendon, who's headed into his 30s and is more offense that they didn't need at the time with Upton and Trout and Otani, who has turned into everything you'd want him to be offensively. But they don't do that. Like they are bridesmaids for Garrett Cole. Fine. But why can't you spend half of that money
Bingo.
or a third of that money on a guy like Robbie Ray? Like that's where I don't understand it.
If I'm an Angels fan, I'm saying, hey, why don't you go give Garrett Cole's money to Robbie Ray and Carlos Rendon? Go bring two of those big guys here.
Yeah, I'd way rather have Rendon than Syndergaard. I'll say that right now. It's bizarre. I mean, Eddie's saying in the comments they're not done, which is fair.
Is if Rodon goes over to Queens?
Yeah,
I think he re-ups. I do think he re-ups in Chicago, though.
That's my gut feeling for anyone who like any situation like that where they turn down I guess he didn't get a qualifying or he doesn't have a qualifying pick attached to him.
No,
that's what I'm saying. So for the Mets, that would be a huge win to me. You're getting a lefty Carlos Rendon and or Rodon,
probably cheaper than the $20 million that Syndergaard got.
Yeah, you're getting a smaller AAV. You're collecting the collateral for letting Syndergaard walk, and you're getting a better pitcher. I mean, that's a no-brainer. If I'm the Mets, I'm all in on Rodon just to prove that point.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it's Eddie. If you get Robbie Ray and you get Noah Syndergaard, that at least I could see as progress. But the Angels never ever land the big fish here, and Robbie Ray is the big fish of this winter for pitching.
Yeah,
so I don't see it.
They're doing a 6-man rotation, so you need 6 guys there.
Right. Yeah. You got Sunday Otani, and now you have Noah, who the hell knows what you're going to get out of him.
I prefer to call him cherry pick Shohei.
And if you don't think you're a playoff team next year, which the Angels shouldn't, I'm sure they do think they are. You know, they're making moves. Why are you signing Noah to a 1-year deal to begin with? What's the point of spending $21 million? You're not getting a qualifying offer out of him because he already has one.
The Angels aren't beating the Astros. The Angels aren't leaping Seattle. Seattle was fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't see any scenario, no matter what the Angels do this winter, given the free agency class, where they're the second best team in that division. You can talk me into Oakland, you can talk me into Seattle, you can't talk me into the Angels. So why are you spending $21 million? I saw one theory where they might trade him at the deadline. What are you going to get for Noah Syndergaard at the deadline?
I mean,
you wouldn't want to then extend him if he's having that great of a year.
That makes some sense. But if that's the goal, it tells you that they know they're going to suck. And is that draft pick you just gave away worth the hopes that Syndergaard has a decent season?
It's a net neutral to me. You're not going to get a top prospect for Noah. And if he's that good, if this is the Noah Syndergaard of 2017 or whatever year he was last, a Cy Young type guy, why aren't you trying to extend him then? He's healthy and he's throwing that guy. Like, then that's the guy you want to target. Instead, they're going to trade him. It makes I don't understand.
You know what it is? Trout needs somebody to hang out with on the IL.
I guess you joke, but Mike Trout's there. This is a guy who's getting perennially injured, and Justin Upton's old and getting injured. I don't know, and we know from Otani's comments he's not going to tolerate. This is not going to be Otani's career. I have read half of the Otani book so far. This is a guy who eventually is going to want to win. Yeah. He's a very competitive dude, even if he comes off as a pussy.
Wouldn't it be funny? I mean, Seattle's on the way up, right?
Yeah.
Otani's a free agent in what?
It's a
1 year,
no-brainer.
2 years? He wants to stay on the West Coast, close to Japan. I mean, come on.
This is what's the fate of the Angels. You're going to watch Shohei Otani
Go to the
Walk
Mariners.
to the Mariners, your division rival, a team who hasn't made the playoffs in 20-something years, and he's going to lead that team through the postseason, and it's going to drive Angels fans nuts.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen.
I don't see them signing him long term. I think he goes to Seattle.
I agree. Seattle makes them a Giants. I could see him going there.
It's funny, and I don't know if you want to segue this or not, but when they got Ohtani, everyone kind of knew that it was the Yankees or a West Coast team, and he preferred the West Coast team. All of a sudden, Billy Epler's getting all this credit for signing Ohtani. Fuck out of here.
I had that thought too. I feel like that's something only Yankee fans would put together because, for whatever reason, Billy Epler has this reputation that he like ghost whispered to Ohtani to get him to sign with the Angels.
Right.
And the reality of the situation was there's only like 3 or 4 teams Ohtani was considering. Yankees weren't one of them, and the Cubs weren't one of them.
Yeah.
So for a team, you didn't need to be a big market, but obviously Ohtani wanted to go somewhere where on the West Coast that was going to tailor their approach to him. There's only so many teams like that. So he did end up signing credit. He signed Ohtani, but he had a lot of cards in his favor in that situation. And he's not the guy who came up with the system by himself that wooed Ohtani over.
I'll never blame a Japanese player wanting to stay on the West Coast and being as close to home as possible. I would never fault that. New culture, new everything. It makes a lot of sense,
Sure. The ship has sailed with Ohtani. He made the decision he made. He's in the situation he's in. Billy Epler gets some credit for it. I get he's been scouting him a long time. So I have a lot of other guys connected.
I was going to say he's not the only one who's been scouting.
Right. Ohtani's name internationally has been known since he was a high school kid. No doubt about that. Whether you've been scouting him since he was 13 or 15 doesn't make a difference. The fact of the matter is Ohtani's been a big fish for a long time, and he came to America in the best possible situation for any owner because he came before posting. Yeah. So all you had to do was pay him his pre-arb. He came as a normal player. So it was a great situation. Yeah, why not? Let's segue over to Billy Epler. Billy Epler signs with the Mets as their general manager. The early indications I saw was that Billy Epler will indeed have general management duty, because that was kind of the first thing that was pointed out is like, well, maybe Sandy Alderson's pulling the strings here, and Epler's a figurehead and whatnot as a GM, but that doesn't seem to be the case based on the reports that I've read. It seems like Epler's going to be a legit GM, just like he was with the Angels. And it is an awful signing. Really, really bad signing. Look, Henry can tell you more than anyone. I don't usually come down one-sided 100% on something. I can see the merit in a lot of decision-making and I'll hedge on that. I'm not hedging here. This is a terrible signing.
I didn't like it either for them. You look at Billy Epler, what he did with the Yankees, and he left them just barren in the farm system. He went to the Angels and did nothing. All he did was sign the best player in baseball to the biggest contract in baseball. That's not that hard to do.
Billy Epler was the Yankees scouting guy from 2005 to 2015, I believe. And the Yankees had their most barren farm system. Now, there's a difference between the Yankees farm system in the late 90s, which was non-existent because Steinbrenner traded everyone at all times, to what the Yankees had going on the first half of this decade, or the first half of this century, I should say. First 2000 to 2010, we'll say. And that was that they had terrible scouting. So Billy Epler does not get credit from me for being a great scouting mind. Damon Oppenheimer does, because he's the guy who's kind of the brains behind turning that farm system around, starting with guys like Aaron Judge and making it now a good, I would still not say great, farm system. So then you have to look at his body of work, Billy Epler, as a GM since the Angels. He is the only GM employed since 2015 who has not had a winning season as the Angels, 2015 to 2020. He didn't work last year. Absolutely. And now he's getting a second job. And here's where it shouldn't offend Mets fans, what I'm saying, and we'll get Jacob Moses' take on this in a moment here. It shouldn't offend you, because he's the 6th or 7th choice.
Exactly.
He was not their first choice. And it shows, because he's not a great choice. The only credit I'll give to Billy Epler is that he's been around baseball and he's a name. And sometimes that's better than just, I don't know, signing a agent to be your GM who has no front office experience ever, which is something the Mets have done in the past.
Well, they weren't they also looking at someone else who doesn't have GM experience?
Right. So at least he's been a GM. That's the only thing I'll say about him. Here's another thing. This is going to piss off Jacob, and I've already told him. This is the Adam Gase signing of Major League Baseball. It is exactly like Adam Gase for the Jets, because Adam Gase had a season and a half where he made Jay Cutler an okay quarterback, not a terrible one. And he became this quarterback whisperer. Then he became a head coach and failed. And then the Jets are like, let's go bring this guy in. He's an unmitigated disaster. I said he would be when he was signed for the Jets. It turned out to be true. I'm saying the same thing for Billy Epler. And I'll give you another example. The other side of football, the Giants, Joe Judge, their third choice. Pat Shurmur was their third choice before that. Right. When you get to your third and fourth, Aaron Boone, third choice of the Yankees. When you get to your third and fourth choices, these are not ideal scenarios. They're guys you hope are going to pan out. And Billy Epler was more like their sixth or seventh choice. It's not good. It's not good, Mets fans. I'm not sugarcoating this. It is not a good signing. Prove me wrong. It'd be great. Maybe the money can buy him out of this. I hate it.
There's this thing that's been going around for, I want to say, a week, maybe 2 weeks, about David Stearns, and he's the president of baseball operations in Milwaukee. Apparently he wants the job. The Mets want him, and Milwaukee won't negotiate, which to me is foolish, because that tells you the guy's out in a year if he doesn't want to be there, and he's trying to negotiate that now. Right. They're saying Billy Epler and David Stearns is close. I don't care, because David Stearns is going to come in and be the president of baseball operations for the Mets. He's not going to take a downgrade and be the GM. So that means that Billy Epler is still the fucking GM.
And maybe it's a sweetheart deal for both. Maybe the Mets just want some sort of continuity because they just fired 2 GMs in like 3 days. And they want a guy who's going to stay there for a year. And maybe he does bring in a great president of baseball operations who can then pull the strings of another GM.
It's possible. Now they just give him a check. I get it.
It's a lot of conclusions to draw.
Yeah, some of the early names I loved. I loved the idea of getting Theo Epstein. I love the idea of getting Billy Beane. I think those were the right targets, and those guys were a little high out of their mind asking for equity. But I think those were the right targets. And then you started going into, they fucking tried to get a lawyer who'd never been a GM and all this other shit. And I'm like, I don't want to say it because I was a big fan of the Steve Cohen purchasing the Mets, but it's the same old Mets right now. It's the same circus. It's the same question mark. It's the same everything. I don't want Billy Epler running my team if I'm a Mets fan.
And let's go to a Mets fan. We got Jacob Moses here. So Jacob, tell me what you think of Billy Epler.
First of all, y'all kiss my ass. So I have to say that. And congrats to the Braves. Now I just have to get this out the way. Now, Met fans, we are the last. We have seen every single team win a World Series before we did. We just leave it there. I'm not going to get all the way into that. But Billy Epler,
your division, yes.
In our division, yes.
It's
disgusting. It makes me want to throw up.
Think about that. Great point.
It makes me really sick.
Marlins twice for the record, Jacob.
Yeah, shut up. Shut up, man. Shut up.
When the Marlins win it again, it'll be a Yankee running them.
Oh man. See, and then y'all can gloat about that. But now Billy Epler, the only positive that I will give him that he was under Cashman. That's it. He knows the New York market, which is, I think that was big. Also, it's all about Stearns. Manhattan kid. He's a Met fan. It's going, it's going to happen.
Is that confirmed? David Stearns a Met fan?
He actually is. He is. He grew up in Manhattan, all that other nonsense, Let him, if you want to be the Messiah of the Mets, do what you got to do. Get him here next year. But we all know that's the only reason Billy Epler got hired. It's come on. We know what it is.
David Stearns is the Keim Bloom of the NL. So
exactly.
it would be a fantastic get if you get it.
So here's my
not
thing.
Why I make moves though.
Here's my thing. If that were the case, he should have been your number 1 pick from jump.
It could have been.
Your number 1 pick from jump was Theo Epstein, then Billy Beane.
I really think David Stearns was up there.
And here's my problem. Here's my problem with the David Stearns thing. You can't wait a year. A lot can happen in a year. You have scandals. You have all kind of crazy shit. You could have David Stearns could probably get another offer and be wooed from another team. You just can't let. If I'm Steve Cohen, I'm going to Milwaukee and I'm like, look, this is the guy we want. He doesn't want to be here. He wants to be with us. We want him. Let's work out some sort of compensation, because I'm sorry, if you're Milwaukee, you don't want this guy running your team knowing he's gone in a year. And if you're the Mets, you don't want him out there a year making moves and building a more of a resume for himself. You just don't.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation of why they're not doing it. Who knows? Like I said, I wish I was an insider to get that information, but we just don't know. So it's just, we're going to have to wait another year. But another wish of Billy Epler. Listen, we don't want, just last year, we don't want unsolicited dick pics. We don't want DUIs, DWIs. Just have your
dick pics and DUIs. It's a good Saturday night.
I mean, listen, keep that shit away from Queens. Just do your thing. New York. We get it.
Free. Yeah, he was scandal free.
That's all I want right now, because these last 2 years have been ridiculously crazy for us. Just how the hell? Just think about that. That was so Mets. I get the phone call. Jake, you hear about Jared Porter? What the hell? What are you talking about? Oh, he said dick pics. I sat in my office and can we have what the hell?
The funny part is like, there's a party that you're like, my nigga. And then there's another party you're like, come on, man.
Exactly. You're like, come on, son. But she said no like 20,000 times. Like, what do you get off sending Johnson pics like 750, 100, 150? Yeah. Like, what is wrong with you?
It wasn't just a dick pic. It was the solicitation. It was some sexual predator behavior.
I know, but God damn, this is...
Bro, that's what we're going to call y'all, dick pics and DUIs. That got to be somebody's fantasy team's name.
I was thinking about it. I was honestly thinking about it.
You're welcome.
I have to add, this I do know. The Brewers twice have said no to the Mets interviewing Stearns. So it's not entirely the Mets' fault.
We don't believe in no.
Yeah. Well, your GM certainly does.
We gonna take it, or you just go? Never mind. We're gonna keep it a little bit clean. But
we
honestly,
wish we had that tenacity in the Mets front office to get some more guys in the front office. But unfortunately, it's not how they use those powers.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I gotta say, Jacob, I like having you as a Mets fan on way more than Henry's relatives who bust my balls about Aaron Boone coming back. This is like night and day for me.
Extend Boone. I kept saying it. Extend Boone. It was going to happen.
Yeah.
Once again, you cannot fire. You cannot fire a dude that kept winning 90. What is it? 3-4 years in a row now with 90. You can't. You got it. You got to go through a Mets season for him to get fired. And y'all don't want to see that.
I think I might take that exchange, man.
The Yankees are Boone's like the white privilege of like managers, right? Like we're starting from 90 wins, and Henry and are like, get this guy shot into outer space. And the Mets fans are like, can we have a GM who just doesn't take his dick out inappropriately? That's where we're going to start.
Here's the thing: can we have a dick pic DUI scandal with Aaron Boone?
Like, right over there, like,
get him in trouble. Come on, please.
Get him the phone with the micro, the extra zoom, whatever he got to do. Just get that man a scandal to get him fired. Let him get
this idiot. He doesn't miss his devotionals on Sundays. Like Aaron, like jaywalk. Do something illegal. Anything I'll take for Aaron Boone to get the hell out of this state.
His biggest fucking scandal is telling my guys are fucking savages. They're savages in the box. Get the fuck out of here. Come on.
And everybody loved it.
Right, exactly.
Because he showed balls for the only time he's been in New York. That was the one time Aaron Boone seemed like he was a male. And and it still didn't work. So
and we lose the next game.
Joey just said it. Sure. We got drunk Relusa freaking winning divisions. Can we get something?
Give me a scandal. I need a scandal, man.
Man. I don't care. That's what I said. I want the bad boy Mets back. I want to see people get punched in the face. As long as we win, I don't care. Cheat. I mean, inject yourselves, bring the steroid era back. Listen, you got to do what you got to do now. Listen, all right, I'm kidding, guys. We're not going to be Houston. All right. And plus, y'all ain't. Now I see why y'all say y'all ain't shit. See, y'all couldn't get the job done. See, you could have saved Met fans some trouble, beat the Braves. Now y'all on my shit list. Y'all ain't shit. I hope everybody leaves.
I tell you, There's been whispers about Brad Ausmus. I'm telling you now.
I heard. I think that's
Bruh.
coming. But
Stay
I heard it.
away. Stay away from Brad Ausmus. Go get Buck Showalter, man. Go get you
That's what I want.
a
That is
seasoned
my.
manager.
That's what I want. Experience. Shit, I would even take freaking. What the hell is that dude's name? Old dude that coached USA when we were on WBC.
Jim
Leland.
Leland.
I'll take Jim Leland
Jim
before
Leland's
I take
still
Brad
alive?
Ausmus.
There's no way he's
Yeah, he
under
good.
90 years old. How old is Jim?
Who gives a shit?
Leland?
He'll be all
Tony
right.
La Russa looks like he's
He'll be
90
okay.
years old. What the fuck?
Oh
Listen.
man.
If he breathing, he can manage. Shit.
If you
Evidence
bring
Yeah,
in
you got
Buck,
that
if you bring in Buck Showalter, that would mitigate like 60% of my ire for Billy Epler. That would be a big get. The problem is that
Wait. Hold on.
then Billy Epler's going to walk in a year like you all want, and Buck
Yeah.
Showalter's a lame duck. So what's the plan here?
Jake, I need some clarity on that comment Joey made where he says Sean compared Ausmus to Craig Counsell. Come on, son.
no.
Yeah, I mean, love Sean to death, but this dude is wild. I mean, we call him the excuse factory for a reason.
That sounds
Every
like fun.
goddamn thing. Me
I
and
like
Joey try to
Sean.
speak some sense. Oh, absolutely.
I love Sean. I love his analysis on 28 teams. That's it. 28 teams. That's what he's good for. He's good for 28 teams analysis.
Sean turned on Louis Rojas real quick, by the way, once he became our outfield coordinator
Oh,
and
no,
third base
no,
coach. But as a
no.
manager, he was going to be looked at by like 25 teams.
Hell no. No. He said, no, Sean, I'm getting your ass here. No. When we were complaining, he sucked. Oh, well, we went to the Padres. The Padres didn't know his ass. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No excuses. Luis
the
Rojas, he
record,
was trash.
I'm perfectly okay with the Luis Rojas
Yeah.
signing for the Yankees. I think that's where he needs to build back up. I think he will be a good manager eventually.
Yeah, damn sure wasn't here.
He's just too good of a baseball guy not to.
Rojas is I get where Sean was, because I remember when he was defending Rojas before he was fired. I get where Sean's coming. He's a good baseball guy.
Yes.
He knows a lot about the game. This is a classic. I'll use football again as an example. Classic example to me where you're not a good head coach, but you'd make a good coordinator, or you were a good coordinator and you're not a good head coach. Same thing in baseball. Like third base coach, outfield coordinator, Rojas probably going to be a good asset. He's got to be better than Phil Nevin going around giving everyone COVID and denying that it exists. So, I mean, like that right off the bat, if you're not making our players sick, that's good for a third base coach.
Listen to me.
So I'll take that from Rojas.
Louis Rojas is going to be a good manager. He just
Yeah,
needs
yeah. Yeah, he coming for
One
Boone's
day.
job. He gonna slide right up in the Boone's job.
You know what? Give him a little more time. I'll be perfectly okay with him taking Boone's job.
See it happening.
I'm not going to go there yet, but that's only because there's like 17 old guys that I would like to replace Boone right now. Rojas is somewhere on that list, but not near the top of it.
Rojas is also Spanish, and the Yankees don't hire Spanish managers.
Well, you know my
Or Latin managers.
Right.
We'll get one more question out of you, Jacob, before we let you go, and then we'll get into some of these other management moves. Noah's gone. Thor is gone. He's out of there. Obviously, Rojas is also gone. Epler's your GM. What do you think of Noah leaving, and how would you like to see the Mets proceed this offseason? Like, what are your main targets? We're going to talk about this later, so I want to know what are your main targets this winter?
Main target, you got to get Stroman back. He was one of the most consistent ones in the rotation. You got to get him back. Noah, it hurt a little bit, but then again, once he didn't pitch in a year and a half, so what are you really missing? He got pretty much the bag for a year from the Angels. So, and plus you think about it, you got Peterson coming back, you got Miguel he pitched really well. You got Jake coming back, so now you got to fill those holes. Walker, he was a one half pitcher.
I think he ran out of gas.
Yeah, he did. It was pretty bad. It was ugly. But Stroman, he was that consistent guy behind Jake. So honestly, you got to bring him back.
By the way, didn't Sean tell us Taiwan Walker was going to be like some big stud?
I'm not talking about that right now. All right, we're going to leave that alone. We're going to let that go.
Is that enough though? Stroman comes back. You feel good about your rotation?
I feel a little bit better. A little bit. I'm going to be optimistic. That's how I am as a fan. Not going to get too up, not going to get too down. But
I think
you need more than that.
You guys need another arm.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, we're doing
Yeah.
Who?
Jake needs
Oh,
help.
yeah, he needs Jesus. That's what he needs.
Yeah.
but yeah, we got a lot of
Jake's gonna
work to
need a
do.
medical staff soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't trust the Mets medical staff any far as I can throw him. But now you need the outfield help as well. Conforto's gone. I can see him going to, Seattle or something like that. Joey said the Braves. I'll throw up.
Oh, man.
You know who's a good fit for you guys?
Hmm?
Nick Castellanos is a great fit.
I said that. I said I would love that. I have no problem with getting him. We need another right-handed back. I got tired of all these, Nemo, yes, on base machine. Dominic Smith, too many lefties. We need a righty bopper in there that'll kind of put things together, and we'll see. All right, right now it's not looking good. Honestly, I want to see who they hire as manager. Maybe we do some, do the main Mets thing that we usually do, first half team, and see what happens then. But right now it's looking ugly.
If you guys get the universal DH, I've got a really, really great right-handed bat. He's been compared to Aaron Judge on the other side of New York over there, who I think could be a nice right-handed addition for you, and Luke Voigt.
Oh no, please.
Just gonna cost you a couple things, but yeah, I mean, maybe that solves all your problems. He's a winner. Trust me. This guy,
yeah,
great
right.
defense. He's smart. He doesn't strike out too much. Just fantastic.
Who, that big oaf? Nah, I'm good. Absolutely
I
not.
also think universal DH would help you guys tremendously because you can.
I agree.
You can let Pete DH. Dom can play first. That
Exactly.
your defense. So yeah.
Yeah,
we'll take it,
yeah.
but we'll see.
Well, best of luck to you next year. I at the very least, I hope that someone else in your division doesn't win the World Series next year. Like, it'd be nice if that stopped happening every other year.
That
Jake,
would be nice.
I appreciate you joining us. Thank you. And for those who
absolutely.
don't know, Jake is the co-host of the Step Back Basketball Podcast. If you are not in basketball life, get your ass in basketball life.
For sure.
Sir,
They do a great job.
When's the next podcast?
We are going Friday. Got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Kyrie maybe again. Knicks. I mean, we're doing well. I'm going to give the Bulls some respect. Okay, don't worry about it, guys. But we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Spalding change, whole bunch of stuff.
I'm gonna keep calling it the Staples Centers, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Mama call it Staples Center. I call it Staples Center.
Yeah, my identity crisis game, Knicks versus Magic's on right now. Knicks are losing again to a terrible team. So that's, they should stop doing that.
Definitely get it together. But I appreciate what you guys do. Keep doing it. Always love watching it. Best in there, man.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. Have
Got
a good
it.
one.
You too, brothers.
And Jacob segues us back into those coaching moves. So we'll go to the coaching moves. We talked about, obviously, Eppler at GM. We touched on Rojas. Again, third base coach, outfield coordinator. I have no problem. Rojas seems like a smart mind. I think he can windmill okay, so I'm fine with that. Yankees still need a bench coach, still need a hitting coach. And their old hitting coach and a guy I thought would make an excellent bench coach both went to the Marlins today. Marcus Timms signing a 3-year deal, I think, as the hitting coach for the Marlins. And Al Pedrique, who was so you all know the connection. He was the minor league manager when Aaron Judge was a prospect in the Yankees organization. And then he was kind of unceremoniously ignored as with the manager vacancy when they hired Boone. I kind of liked Pedrique. He's an older baseball guy. Marlins hiring him too. I forget. I think it's one of the bases, though. I don't think it's a bench coach. It's not manager or anything.
I really like that. I know you're not a big Timms guy. I'm a big Marcus Timms guy. I think the Yankees held him back. I like Marcus Timms, and I think you're going to see the Marlins immediately respond to him with that young team they got there.
I think that Tim's approach could work with the right personnel. It does not work with the Yankees personnel. He's not a good fit here. He needed to go here. I completely am in support of that. But much like the Gabe Kapler situation with the Phillies, like if you have the right roster, I don't think Timms is an idiot. I think he just has a certain approach and it doesn't work here.
Dude, it just hit me.
What?
Yankees need a bench coach.
Yes.
Go get Felipe Alou.
How old? Like Felipe Alou and Jim Leyland have to be 100.
You know Felipe Alou is Luis
years old.
Rojas' father, right?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, Luis Rojas is Moises Alou's brother. He's an
Why
Alu.
is he a Rojas?
I forgot the reasoning, but yeah, that's why I keep saying he comes from a baseball family.
Oh, I just figured it. I
That's
mean, there's
Felipe.
a million
That's
Rojas
Felipe.
families, so I just
He's
figured that was
named.
one of
I
them.
believe he's named after his mother, but that's Felipe Alu's son.
Yeah, that's neat.
Oh,
I did
get
not know
Felipe
that.
Alu in the bench.
Is Matty Alou dead?
I don't know.
There's like 6 Alous. I didn't realize that. Okay, well, yeah. So look, he's got the cachet. Like, that's a good guy to have on the staff, as long
This
as
is
he's
why
not
I've been
managing.
saying he comes from a baseball family. I like Rojas. I just think he was put in an impossible position after Beltran got canned.
Yeah, I mean, he was an emergency. This is again what the Mets. He's an emergency pick for the Mets. Now they have an emergency GM who's going to make an emergency manager pick. It's a cycle they need to get out of. Rojas, Yankees, fine.
It's not Felipe Alu. Go get his brother Moises. It's got to be doing something.
See what he's doing. Thames, Patrick, Marlins. I like that move. I like both those moves.
I like them a lot.
This is what the Marlins do. They take Yankee castoffs and they make it. Join them in the new family.
Like Voltron.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually. So those are, and Tim Hires, my top choice for hitting coach, Red Sox hitting coach, who he just randomly was like, I don't want to work for the Red Sox anymore, is now the Rangers hitting coach, which I think is going to be good for them.
Fast.
Yeah.
Another team that I think will leap the Angels.
What's that?
Another team, the Rangers, I think will leap the Angels.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I could see it. I picked the Angels actually did better for a while last year than I thought they would, and then they kind of fell off at the end. But yeah, Angels can finish anywhere from 4th to 5th next year to me. So
they traded Pujols, and Pujols found the fountain of youth.
Yeah, for a brief period.
Yeah.
So let's go back to player moves now. We'll start with a really smart duo. Detroit Tigers so far. This happens too. As a Yankee fan, this is super annoying, and it's going to much be offensive to every other fan base. But I hate when there's this random team who I don't think is ready to compete yet, and they're just huge spenders. That's what I think we're going to get from the Tigers this year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs next year, but they're kind of they signed Eduardo Rodriguez, which is a smart deal. He's a durable lefty who already got over heart problems and remained durable. Bad year last year in the AL East, but this is a guy who had a lot of health problems in 2020. I don't necessarily hold it against him. Yes, his velocity's dipped. He's kind of like a low 90s to maybe mid 90s type thrower now, but I think the guy's got some gas left in the tank. He's still, I think he might be turning 30. He's like in his late 20s. This is kind of like a John Lester light type signing to me, in that with the Cubs, before they were ready to compete, kind of spent big on Lester, and then Lester became big later. I feel like Rodriguez can usher in those young guys when Detroit starts to get pretty good. I think they are going to get good eventually.
I think they need one more pitcher, one more veteran. I love their rotation, Scooble, Mize, Manning. I really like
staff.
I really like what they're doing. I think they can cause a lot of problems, but I would like to see one more veteran pitcher on in that rotation.
Yeah, I think they need some depth. They need a reliable arm. Those 3 young guys have huge upside, but we don't know what we're going to get out of them yet.
We're also hearing a ton of rumors of them being in on one of the shortstops, which, the player position splash, which they're smart if they're doing everything before the CBA negotiations. I think that it's a smart move for them. They're saying, we're probably going to save some money on the back end because of the CBA negotiation. So I like this a lot.
This is also an organization that are really like were spenders. The entire part of last decade, pretty much they were spenders because they were competitive. So they're not going to be afraid to get up to like a $200 million payroll eventually.
They signed Verlander, they signed Cabrera. They spent money.
Yeah. They need a few sticks. And they also obviously always need a bullpen. Like permanently, they need a good bullpen. They don't have the bullpen, to your point, Henry, to supplement a thin rotation. I think they have a high upside rotation. I agree with you. They need another arm, but Erod's a nice signing for them, and he's going to be thrown to Tucker Barnhart, who was probably my top choice to replace Gary Sanchez. And they signed him lightning quick, like in the first 24 hours of free agency.
They traded for him so fast. And I love the move for them. I was pissed off because, like you said, I think we were in agreement there. Yeah. Perfect replacement for Gary Sanchez. They move quick.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing to convince these guys so quickly to go to a place like Detroit. But
Well,
it's
he
working.
was traded. He was traded.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Erod, I guess the fast one, but he was gonna get his money. He fits
Yeah.
that profile perfectly. And,
Erod got good money, and I think the Tigers got good value. I like that deal for both.
yeah. Well, 4 years, 57 million. Is that what it was?
It was
Either way, leaves the Red Sox. That's Red Sox also could use a reliable arm. Oh, it was 77. Yeah.
5
okay.
years, 77.
That
I
makes
mean,
way more sense.
He got paid, and I don't know if he would have gotten in too much more than that.
He got durable lefty money. Is how I see it. That's unfortunately what the going rate is. Like Rick Porcello years ago got a 580 for being a durable arm. Essentially, now he went on won a Cy Young, whether it was warranted or not. But there's something to be said for being a durable arm, and he's a lefty. So I don't think that's an insane contract to hand to him. And again, the Red Sox weren't going to do it. So the Red Sox, we're going to see what they do. We can kind of project there a little bit. What 5 years, 77 million. Thank you. Red Sox are going to need pitching too. It's not really on the market. Kime's not the type of guy who's going to force anything. So Red Sox are an interesting team next year in that they lost Erod. The offense is going to come back. That was a juggernaut last year. I don't see a reason it's going to have a major step back. But this is a team I could see kind of still being like a high 80s, low 90s win team and not going to the ALCS next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see with that.
I think I know we spoke about the qualifying offer a bit. I think that there was only one player to accept the qualifying offer.
Yeah, Brandon Belt accepted the qualifying offer today. I think that was a smart move. 18.4 for him. He's 33, going to be 34 years old. I'm pretty sure.
I think he could have got more money, but I get it. He spent his whole career in San Fran. He probably wants to end it there.
It's not a terrible 1 year deal to me because there's not really a big difference between 33, 34, 35 to me. He's not going to get a long deal anyway. And 18.4 million is an overpay for him. He had 329 at bats last year.
I think he could have got, like we said before, I think he could have got like 2 years, 26, 27, just eke out a few more million. But again, that's a lifer. He's going to be there. He'll retire a Giant. So I get it. Everyone else that fuck off with the 18.4 million.
Yeah, and rightfully so. One guy who was not good enough to get 18.4 million, Andrew Haney, has signed with the Dodgers. He didn't get a qualifying offer because he's god awful. He has publicly claimed, you'll appreciate this, Henry, because I know you like pitchers who say smart things in the Bronx. He publicly claimed that he was better than his stats indicate, so he's got that going for him. Now, he is going to the Dodgers. He's going to the NL West. The NL West, I think, is underlooked in that it has most, except for Coors, it is all pitcher parks. Those are big ballparks out there in the West. And he's going to the Dodgers, who are a world-class pitching organization. What do you think Andrew Heaney could be?
I pray that Andrew Heaney gets lit the fuck up. Because let me tell you what happened last year. Every single home game that Andrew Heaney pitched for the Yankees after he was traded, I somehow managed to be at that game. Every single one. After the first one, you defended him, and I was so mad at you. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah, you got very angry because after like 3 innings, I was like, we shouldn't give up on this guy yet. Like, he's striking guys out.
Every start was worse than the other, and every time I looked at my ticket, I looked at the date, I said, I had another fucking Andrew Heaney start. I think it was every single start he had at Yankee Stadium in the second half of the season, I was at the stadium, and that pissed me off even more.
He was so bad that I almost think it was unsustainably bad. Like, no one can give up that many 420-foot lasers.
And then he gave up more the next start.
Yeah, he was giving up 3 to 4 dongs a game. And it was like every mistake he threw was hit a billion miles.
To your point, he's going to a division with bigger parks, but he's also going to a division with monster offenses, and the other park is Colorado.
That's true. That's
I hope he gets lit the fuck up so that Yankee fans and Angel fans can come together and just point and laugh and go, that's it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Which, speaking of the Yankees real fast, we haven't talked about their deals. I think they dodged the Justin Verlander bullet, knowing that he got $50 million. I didn't have any interest in Marcus Stroman before his comments. I don't have any now. I know that you like Correa a lot more than I do, and not just from a personal standpoint, but I don't think he's an ideal fit with the Yankees, and I don't really want to pay for a non-ideal fit when their top three prospects are all shortstops.
Let me rephrase that. I think Correa is the best of the shortstop bunch by a lot.
I think he's a slightly better player than Seager, but I think Seager's a better fit.
And that's where I was going. I think Seager fits this team a little better. I don't want to pay either one of them for 10 years.
Yeah, I don't either. Going into this, I was like, we got to sign Seager and a big-time shortstop, and now I feel differently.
You tell me Francisco Lindor was in this class like he was originally going to be. That's a whole different ballgame. Now I'm telling you, I'll give Frankie the 10 years. I'm not worried about Frankie. He's going to do fine in the Mets. I know he had a rough season. I'm not worried about Frankie one bit. That guy, I'd give the 10 years to. Don't care if he's righty, lefty, swings with both hands, swings with his dick. I don't care. Frankie was a guy I would have given 10 years to. Correa and Seager, I'm not too crazy about that prospect of giving him that much money.
I liked Lindor more than Correa and Seager going into last season. And not that I think last season's any sort of like death sentence for the next decade, but Lindor to me has some warts just in that first of all, he's a shortstop. That's an inherent wart. And second of all, he is a low on base percentage guy. I guess what I'm saying is that if Lindor's skill set does deteriorate as he enters his early 30s here, it could go fast. Neither here nor there. I'm not worried about it if I'm the Mets after one bad year. Everyone deserves a transition year. But I agree with you. He's a better fit than Correa or Seager. And at this juncture, knowing that a guy like Volpe or Peraza or Cabrera could be these guys could be your opening day 2023. They might be a factor. I'm almost on the Andrelton Simmons bandwagon, just getting that stopgap at shortstop. And we were there last year.
2 years,
Yeah, we were there last year before the Yankees shortstop prospects became mega prospects. I mean, these guys weren't blue chips going into last year. They both had huge seasons. Now I still kind of feel that way. You can sign Simmons to like a 1 or 2 year deal. My only problem with that is you're adding another righty. And if they're hell bent on keeping Gary Sanchez, then you're talking about you need a center fielder who is not Aaron Hicks, who is a left-handed bat, and you also need a left-handed bat at first base, and that is not negotiable for me.
I think Starling Marte is a Yankee.
Which is a problem for me. I like Starling Marte, even if he's 33, but he is a righty. So this is what I'm talking about.
Isn't he a switch hitter?
No, I don't think so. I think he's just right-handed. If Starling Marte is a switch hitter, he should have been signed yesterday, but I'm like 90% sure he's just right-handed.
Okay, I thought he was a switch hitter for some reason.
So that's my problem is if you sign Simmons, you can add a right-handed bat to the Yankees this winter, but you can only add one. And that's if you don't trade Joey Gallo.
I'm thinking of the other Marte, it's Cattell.
Yeah, Cattell's right. Corey, thank you for the correction. So you add Starling Marte, you add Andrelton Simmons, you keep Gary Sanchez, you have Joey Gallo as a lefty, and you have Aaron Hicks, who will be injured by May as a switch hitter, who is a lefty in this situation. And then you might have a first baseman. But my problem is that you would need then a center fielder and a first baseman who is a lefty, and you'd have to keep Joey Gallo. And I don't want to keep Gallo if you keep Gary Sanchez. So that's
a lot of chatter about Byron Buxton to the Yankees.
I don't like that either. Love the skill set.
We have Byron Buxton. His name is Aaron Hicks.
Right.
We have that already. High ceiling, great defender, good bat when healthy. When healthy. I don't want to add guys with questionable injury risks.
Yeah, I agree with you in that they're both injury prone and they're probably never going to reach their ceiling. Byron Buxton, when he's healthy, is a much better player to me than Hicks, but they are both in it. It's cut from the same cloth, doesn't matter. And they're both, and Buxton's a right-handed hitter. So again, this goes to the whole problem. If you're going to do Simmons, that's fine. You improve defense. He's a guy who could put the ball in play. That's all I'm really looking for up the middle right now. But if you're going to do that, you need a center fielder who bats lefty to join Gallo. You've got Stanton and Judge who bat righty. They can sprinkle the corners. That's fine. If you're keeping Glaber and you're keeping Gary, something's got to give there. So,
and I will tell you, I think if Freddie Freeman is not getting a deal worked out, if I'm Brian Cashman, I'm on that phone like, yo, they don't give you 6 years. We'll give you 6 years. And there's a lot of problems without trading some of those big names that have been talked about for Matt Olson. You can turn around and maybe trade them for a pitcher.
I would give Freeman
whatever he wants.
First of all, I'd give him like 4 to 5 times what I'd give Rizzo. Rizzo, by the way, I'm okay with coming back, but he is a solid plan B for me.
But I don't think Rizzo plays every day. Rizzo's going to be a platoon guy.
I mean, I think skill
Back is-
set wise, he's fine, but his best days are behind him. There's no
It
getting
goes
around
back to the injury-prone players. I don't want injury-prone players on this team anymore.
Yeah, I think Rizzo is a liability just because he's getting old and he has a lot of mileage, but he's not a liability in that he's like chronically injured all the time.
No, but that back
there's
requires a lot of rest.
Differentiate, right? So that I agree. Rizzo is not a slam dunk. He's plus his body language, as Corey points out. He's not a slam dunk option. He's a solid plan B, just like Anderson Simmons is, because Simmons isn't a lefty. But Matt Olson,
plan B is some people's plan A. Ask the women in the club.
Matt Olson, I think, is going to happen. And that to me completely comes down to what that package looks like. Because if you first of all, Volpe and Peraza are off the table.
I totally agree.
I have zero interest in giving up either of them for a first baseman. I don't care who the first baseman is.
I know we differ here. I would also add Dominguez to that mix. I wouldn't touch Dominguez.
Sorry, yeah, I left him out. Yeah, Dominguez, because he's not a shortstop. Dominguez, I'm not touching my top three for Matt Olson. If you want a package around Cabrera, who's the Yankees' third best shortstop prospect, that's fine with me. I'm willing to give up something, and I think Cabrera is a top 100 prospect. That's fine as a starting point. And if you want to add a Luke Voit, I don't know if Oakland has interest or not to just replace Olson with Voit. If you want to do that, that's fine.
No, it's a lot of talk about Austin Wells. They want Austin Wells.
And that would be fine. If your centerpiece to me is Wells and Cabrera, and maybe even a third piece like a Gill or a Medina or a
might have to be I think more of a Davey Garcia.
Oh, that's fine. Any of those guys as a third piece is fine. You want to go with three really good, those are good pieces. This is not a rip-off situation to me. Matt Olson has 2 years of control left. He's a very good, I don't think he's a very good first baseman. But he is not a perfect hitter.
I tell you what, make me happy. Make me happy and go get me both Matts.
Of course you want Matt Chapman.
Just give me both Matts.
Well,
I'd be very happy with that.
Well, so the other thing is, if you're going to sign Simmons and you're going to sign Olson and you're going to sign Chapman, which Chapman's not going to happen, but I wouldn't be against it.
Right.
Then you are trading, in my mind, Gleyber Torres.
Not necessarily.
Gio's already on the bench if Chapman's at third, and if Simmons is at short.
I think you can trade Gio.
Oh, I mean, he's not a problem. You have Chapman at third. You have Simmons at shortstop. You have Gleyber at second. Where's DJ going?
He's going to play his original role, which was a super utility guy. That was what he was trying to do. You
would trade Gio, and then you'd have DJ rotate. All right, I can deal with that too.
Look, DJ was signed to be a super utility guy and give people rest because he can play every infield position.
Right.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
You don't lose anything.
To me, that was Gio's role this year. I'd be fine with that. I don't think Gio should be starting third baseman. I do like that. I like him essentially replacing Odor, who I feel like they're going to bring back because he didn't cost anything, but he's a terrible fit here. I have no interest in him, even as a lefty. And
he's coming back because he only costs $500,000. That's why.
Right. That we know that's going to happen. So that's the problem. The Yankees have some makeup issues, and I'm curious to see if the Yankees address them or not.
Real quick, Melvin says Bryant, to the Yankees ? I think Chris Bryant goes to the Mets.
I don't think Bryant will go to the Yankees. I don't think that'll become a serious.
I love Carlos Correa, and I've been saying this for 3 years. If anybody, I've pinpointed Carlos Correa going to the Mets at third base for 3 years now. I think that's the best fit. I just think the numbers that are being thrown out is probably going to say no. They're not going to want to pay $600 million for the left side of their infield. But
I think Bryant's a better fit for the Mets.
I agree. I think Chris Bryant ends up in the Mets uniform.
Joey's saying that they are demanding Peraza in the deal. That's fine. Look, not every deal has to happen. I'd walk away from that. They're not going to get a better deal. Peraza is a top 20 prospect in baseball. You're not getting that elsewhere. So I'm not worried about it.
Here's the thing with the thing. How many teams in contention need a first baseman that are willing to give you a top 20 prospect?
That's what I'm saying. The market's not there to demand Peraza. Sorry, if they get it, God bless them. I was okay walking away from it.
What do I call it?
The
Yankee tax. The Yankee tax. Let's ask for more because they're the Yankees. We see it every trade deadline.
It's just not. This is the one thing about Brian Cashman that I am very happy has changed over the years is that they're willing to walk away if they're going to get fleeced. Yankees don't need to be fleeced on deals. Look at the last year's deadline. A bunch of fair deals. It magically was able to happen. It's like, this doesn't need to be the case. So yeah, Melvin agrees with us. Peraza is you don't give up an elite shortstop prospect who is near major league ready for a first baseman with 2 years of control left. You just it doesn't make sense.
And we have what you just described. We have 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. So, and here's the other thing with shortstops, we'll get off this point. They can go anywhere. I'm not worried about Volpe and Peraza both being able to play shortstop. One of them could go to third. One of them go to center field. Shortstop can go anywhere.
If you can get me that kind of production and defense on your infield from 2 guys that are league minimum, I'm sold.
I will thank my lucky stars if both of those guys turn out to be regular major leaguers.
It allows us to go spend on the one thing we cannot do, which is build pitching. We can't build pitching. We can't draft guys and develop pitching. We've proven it. So we got to spend money on pitching. And I'm okay with that if it means you can develop position players.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. To wrap it up here, we have awards and free agents. So Robbie Ray wins the AL Cy Young and Corbin Burns wins the NL Cy Young. Corbin was a little less obvious to me, but I'm okay with it. Robbie Ray was a no-brainer at the end. Obviously, full September kind of disqualified that competition.
I was a Zach Wheeler guy. I wanted Zach Wheeler to win. I think
Wheeler was my top choice too.
They actually got the same amount of first place votes. It was the secondary votes that came in that put Corbin Burns over. I'm not mad at it. I've just, personal preference. I think Wheeler was more of a workhorse. I think he worked like 40 more innings. And I think there's value in that.
I'm completely with you there. Manager of the year, I'm going to connect this a little bit. Manager of the year in the NL, I actually, Gabe Kapler. That's an obvious one. No argument there. Kevin Cash wins AL Manager of the Year. Now, Rays had the best record in baseball, small payroll. I get it. I get why he won it, but here's my problem with it. Every single year Kevin Cash is manager, or the Rays are going to have a small payroll. They have proven, not solely at Kevin Cash's credit, that they're going to win with a small payroll. Like, we've established this. He won a Manager of the Year for it. Why does he need to keep winning? This is the same thing, Henry, that I feel about Shohei Ohtani's going to win MVP. And this year I'm fine with it. He deserves it. Whatever. You can argue Vlad, but no one would be mad that Ohtani wins MVP. It's not a first to me. But for me, that's it. He pitches, he hits, great. He gets MVP this year. He can't win it every single year just because he hits and pitches. If he continues being elite, fine. But it's the same thing I feel about Kevin Cash. He is always, that Rays team competes. It's that simple. That's not all on Kevin Cash. Eventually we have to steer away from the fact the Rays win a lot of games and he's the manager. Yeah. And he has to be treated as such.
Not only that, I'm sorry. As much as I hate the Astros, I could have accepted a Dusty Baker win over Kevin Cash. I could have, and maybe he's still being penalized. I could have accepted an Alex Cora win because what Alex Cora did was more impressive than what Kevin Cash did. But I think, and I agree with Joey, Cervantes should have won the Manager of the Year. What we saw with Seattle was something we hadn't seen in over a decade, which is an exciting Seattle Mariners team. And they were there all the way until the end. They deserve a lot of credit. He did a lot after they made some big trades at the deadline that people panned and they hated, and that clubhouse was fractured. He kept them there all the way to the end. So I think Cervantes should have won that Manager of the Year.
I would have been fine with anyone you just listed. I'm okay with Kevin Cash. I just think now it's getting silly. Like, what's going to be the time when Kevin Cash doesn't win it? Like, if the Rays win the East again next year, what have we learned? This is not like, you can't just give this to him every single year just because the Rays have a small payroll. They've already proven they can win with a small payroll. So I'm sure
weird. Seattle's payroll wasn't that much bigger than the Rays.
Yeah. I mean, what Seattle had, the other thing is, who picked the Rays? Like, the Rays weren't this little engine that could. They were in the World Series in 2020. If
I'm not mistaken, I think I read somewhere that there were 7 different first place votes for Manager of the Year on the AL side.
At least it was close. But yeah, I think that's.
I know who didn't get a first place vote for Manager of the Year.
Well, yeah, he got an extension though, so go figure. But yeah, I mean I just think it's at this point it's disrespectful to the Rays as a franchise that Kevin Cash keeps winning these Manager of the Year awards. They won the pennant in 2020. Now he wins the division. I recognize that the playoffs are not a part of it. He wins the division. They have the best record, but Yeah,
I
Surveys,
keep that
Cora. Yeah.
keep that same energy for the rookie of the year, because I didn't like the rookie of the year winning the AL side. I get he's
I'm with you.
eligible. I get that he's eligible, but I'm sorry. The Wander kid was the fucking MVP. Same team. Wander Franco in less than 3 years will be the best player in this game.
Wander Franco and Juan Soto to me are on an entirely different planet for potential. These are $500 million talents to me. And they have very similar skill sets to me too. Wander Franco is an otherworldly batting prospect to me, and he plays a really good shortstop, which makes it almost inhuman to me. Yes, he absolutely should have been rookie of the year. I'm completely with you. Again, Randy Arozarena, why did he need that credit? He was already a playoff hero. We saw what he did in 2020. I get that he's technically eligible for the award this year, but Wander Franco is the embodiment of a rookie of the year. That's a guy you want to look back and say, remember when Wander Franco won rookie of the year? That was the start of his Hall of Fame career.
Yeah,
it's
agree.
not going to be that
Totally
for
agree.
Randy Arozarena.
Totally agree. I think they jerked him, his own teammate.
Silly. It was silly.
Melvin says rookie of the year should be 24 and under. I don't necessarily agree with that. There are some guys that are late bloomers, but I just think you need some clear-cut guidelines, maybe make it more clear. I feel like we've had this discussion every year for the last 5 or 6 years, going back to when Gary Sanchez was there.
Right.
Shit, it goes back to when Hideki Matsui was in the league and they didn't give him rookie of the year and they gave it to Angel Baroa, but then Ichiro wins it. So it's just not consistent.
Yeah, very, very inconsistent. Who won NL Rookie of the Year? I'm drawing a complete blank.
Jonathan India. And I'm okay with that. I'm
fine.
perfectly okay
whatever.
with it.
Yeah,
That kid had a monster year.
He had a nice year. Yeah. Is that all the awards so far?
Manager of the year, rookie of the year, Cy Young. I think that's everything. We can touch on MVP. My choice is Vlad, but I think Ohtani will win.
Ohtani's going to win.
Yeah.
I will guarantee it.
Yeah.
The only question, look, Ohtani kind of fell off towards the end of the year there. He stopped pitching. His batting hit a wall. He struck out 189 times, which is not being mentioned at all. And by the way, I remember a certain guy not winning MVP in part because he struck out so much. So they got to mention it.
Wasn't he over 30%?
I think so. Yeah. But I am okay with Ohtani winning MVP this season. He did give us something we have not seen in like 80 years. So in that sense,
it's more of an accomplishment. I don't think, and I think we maybe have to change the name of the award. I don't know.
Well, that should have happened like 25 years ago. Yeah.
You have the term value, and so. You have these Sabre guys that get stuck on WAR and WAR only, and he has a combined WAR. Then you have scouts that look at players and they see things that, all right, this guy fucking sucks, but he's the MVP. So I think we have to find some middle ground. We have to have some criteria and tighten it up, because what is value? I mean, you had if I'm not mistaken, every finalist in the AL was not. Actually, on both sides, we're not playoff teams. None of the finalists weren't playoff teams.
Yeah.
So how valuable are you if your team isn't getting to the playoffs?
What concerns me about this is what I mentioned earlier. You're a guy, and I totally respect this opinion. I think there's exceptions for it, like this season, but I totally respect this opinion. You're a guy who feels the best player in the league is by default the most valuable.
To me,
Vladimir Guerrero is the best hitter. He played elite defense. He was on a team that was relevant for 162 games. I can see that. He almost won a Triple Crown. Right. I can see that argument. The way that other people see it is Shohei Ohtani was a top 20 pitcher and hitter, and therefore he is the most valuable because he does both, which I can also see, and I understand. My problem is that can't be the reason he wins every single year.
I agree. And here's my problem with that.
This year it's fine.
Cherry picked. So obviously they won't use counting stats because he wasn't pitching enough innings. But now when you're saying a top 20 pitcher, what's the metric? What are we using as the measure? Because now he's not throwing nearly as many innings as the other guys. Guys are throwing 60, 70 more innings than him.
Yeah.
So is he really valuable if he can't pitch every 5 days? Now, I think he's a good pitcher. I think he's a good hitter. I think he should choose one thing to play. I think it's more of a circus than anything. I think he does more harm than good for the Angels. On the field, that is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Angels can afford to do much of anything. Whatever Ohtani says goes. They are not in a position to dictate anything with him. But
and then we have the argument that Joey makes that, the Toronto Blue Jays have a better lineup. You know what? That lineup is better because of Vlad. Marcus Semien has never had a year like this. And you know why that happens? Because he has Vladimir Guerrero hitting behind him.
I think that's part of it. Again, Semien probably a top 5 MVP candidate in his own. I can see where you would want to take away votes. My thing with that is, though, the Blue Jays are a significantly better team than the Angels. So yeah, the lineup's going to be better. They're a better team, and that should be credited to the best player on that team, which is Vlad. So that doesn't bother me. It's the same. It's the counter argument to people who are like, well, Mike Trout should never win his MVPs because they're not a relevant team. Well, Mike Trout was by far the best player in baseball for pretty much a decade.
But that's just right there. Mike Trout is always by far the best player in the game.
So that's what I'm saying is
Ohtani's not.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say Mike Trout deserves his MVPs despite being on a dog shit team, and then also say Vlad does not deserve his MVP because he plays on a good team. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree with that. Yep.
So it's either the supporting cast doesn't matter or it does. So, that's where I come down on that. But in my mind, look, Ohtani was a very good hitter. He was a very good pitcher. We haven't seen that combination.
Yeah.
That makes him super valuable to me.
It was fun. It's fine. It was super fun to watch. It's exciting. Again, I like Ohtani. I'm an Ohtani fan. I think MLB is a little overkill with the promotions. I get why they do it. I get the Japanese money is long. I get it. But I think, like I said, once they started advertising another quality start for Ohtani, I rolled my eyes like, this is what we're doing. We're pumping quality starts now,
Right. And I see, again, Corey made the argument, take Ohtani and Vlad off the team, which team has more losses. I get that argument too, but
Toronto, if you take Vlad off Toronto, they're nowhere near as good. If you take Ohtani off the Angels, they still fucking suck.
Right. I agree with that. I think it's actually a bad argument if you're a bad team because your floor is only going to be so low. Like every team in baseball in the history of baseball has won 40 games. So you're starting there. So, and the Angels are not historically bad without Ohtani.
Right.
They're just bad, and they were bad with him. But so that gap is not really that big. But more so to that point is that should Ronald Acuna never ever be considered an MVP for the rest of his career now? Because they just won 88 games of the division and the World Series without him.
By the way,
it doesn't always translate that way.
Really quick, it also says, and I don't care what people say, 2 things. Make the playoffs and anything can happen, and winning your division fucking counts.
It's yes. And this is something I will hold against Aaron Boone for the rest of his life for 2019. Not going for home field, which I think also matters. 2018 didn't go for the division. 2020 didn't go for the division. He started resting guys. They played for the wild card. And yeah, the Braves could have gone home that first night if they had to face Max Scherzer in the wild card game, or if they had to face a red hot Cardinals team. And on top of that, because they won their division, they got to face the Brewers, who were by far to be the weakest of the teams in the first round of the playoffs in the NL. So there is winning your division absolutely matters, and the teams who understand that tend to benefit. And we saw that from the Braves.
So again, there's this argument that Toronto would still be good with Vlad, right? Without Vlad.
Right.
His 2019 season, his rookie season, they were 67 and 95. That's not good. I give a pass to 2020 on most players, whether they were really good or really bad, because 2020 was a really funky season.
Sure.
And Vlad was hurt, but 2021, Vlad just took off. But I'm excited that the game is in these young players' hands because we have a ton of young stars that are exciting, phenomenal. We can have these discussions, and that includes Ohtani, because Ohtani is absolutely exciting to watch. Yeah,
Ohtani is good for baseball. He really is. I like when he doesn't homer against my team. That's a compliment. He's a very good talent. He's good. He's fun to watch. I get you with the over marketing part. It's not even so much Ohtani's fault as much as MLB in general needs to market a wider variety of players, and they don't. And therefore, the surplus of that goes into like everything is Ohtani. And you could see, go do this strategy if you're psychotic like me. Go to comment sections of of when MLB does advertising for Ohtani and read the comments.
Yeah.
You have fans making fun of how often Ohtani is advertised. That's not good. You don't get that in other. You do get it in like Aaron Rodgers and stuff, but still, there's plenty of great young players who should be getting advertised. I don't hold that against Ohtani. It's obviously not his fault.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that. I'm just saying it's old. MLB marketing is overkill with that. When you have so many young guys, you can just be pumping out there.
Yeah, no, we have to wrap this up. Any predictions here as far as players where you think they'll go?
Why do we got to wrap it up? We do what we want. We run the show.
It's
some notable names. Javi Baez.
I do think from the Yankees' sake, I do think eventually they're going to get Matt Olson.
I think so too.
Actually, I kind of hope I'm wrong depending on the package, but I do think that's going to happen.
I don't want Matt Olson if there's a chance I can get Freddie Freeman, but we'll see.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And I feel like the Yankees probably feel the same.
I'm looking at the free agent list. A lot of complimentary guys like Albert Amara Jr., Chase Anderson, Brett Anderson, Chris Archer.
I'm hesitant to say this because of who the owner is. I really do like the idea of Marcus Semien going to the White Sox. I think that's a great fit.
Where?
Second.
Don't they have Madrigal there?
No, they traded him.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they had Cesar Hernandez. I don't know. First of all, I don't think it matters. Marcus Semien would play over him, but second of all, I don't know if he's still there anyway.
I want Marcus to get his money. He's been an underrated player in this league for 6 years, 7 years. Go get your money.
Yeah,
I would like to see him continue, but again, whoever signs Marcus Semien, remember, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not batting behind him. You are not getting this same season from Marcus Semien. I guarantee you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it'll happen. Marcus Stroman.
Marcus Stroman stays with the Mets.
Yeah,
he wanted to be a Yankee so bad he stays with the Mets. I think the Mets
they need him. Yeah, I think they'll
get Stroman and they get another guy, whether it be John Gray or Rodon. They're going to get two. I think they get two of the pitchers off the free agent market.
Yeah. Is there anyone, by the way, in these closing minutes, anyone who's watching it, just name a player if you want to. I almost forgot to mention, Larry had mentioned Yasiel Puig, I guess, was like defensive player of the year and whatever. He thinks he's coming back to baseball.
Yeah,
he may come back to baseball. I'm not excited about it though.
He just got rid of his agency. I've always liked Puig. It's not happening. He's done.
Yeah. Castellanos. Guesses.
Castellanos end up. Who needs an outfielder who can barely play defense? The Mets. No, the Mets. I think.
Well, you think Castellanos, Bryant, and Stroman go to the Mets?
I think the Mets spend a shitload of free agent money. I really do.
I don't think Castellanos would go there. I feel like he's going to go west. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense because I feel like he's been in the Central, right? Like his entire career.
Central, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he goes to the Tigers.
I was gonna say Cincinnati, but they're too cheap. I was gonna say he stays with them and just gets a better deal, but they're too cheap.
Yeah, they won't do it. I'm trying to think now. I mean, Cubs aren't going to do it. Cardinals, I think probably not. They've already got Goldschmidt and Arenado locked up there. Brewers wouldn't spend that money. Yeah.
Cardinals wouldn't be a bad pick, actually.
I'll say Cardinals, Tigers. You know what? He's a perfect fit for the Twins because he doesn't play defense. I don't think they're going to spend on him either. Giants, says Joey. So yeah, my first gut feeling was that he was going to go out west by default, and the Giants would be he'd be an excellent fit to replace Chris Bryant.
You know who fits him well? I could see a team like Texas trying to make a move and get a bat like Castellanos.
So the rumors are really on her. Texas is going to spend.
He fits that ballpark so well.
He would be a good fit there. Chris Bryant, I think, would also be a good fit in Texas.
He would.
I say that, by the way, I haven't given a thought as to what Texas starting lineup is. Like, I probably off the top of my head right now on the spot on a podcast could name like 2 players.
Do the Washington Nationals need an outfielder?
So where's Leon when we need him? We got Soto over there. You got not Leon himself. He's on the Royals. Yeah, I mean, I would think they do.
Let's see.
I thought they needed one last year, and then they had a fire sale.
Yeah, they can use an outfit. I like that one. I like that. I like the Nationals, actually. I'll say the Nationals or the Texas Rangers.
Do you think, last question, and we'll wrap it up. Nick's winning. Thank you, Joey. Do
like
you think Jose Ramirez finally gets traded?
Why are you doing this to me, man?
It's your favorite question every winter.
So Jose Ramirez is like in my Matt Chapman. There's like a stable of guys that I have that I absolutely adore, and I will always say that they're underrated. And I think Jose Ramirez is at the very, very top of that list. He should have won MVP last year. I don't give a shit what anyone says. I mean, they have to, but they don't, because he had a big team friendly deal. I think he's coming toward the end of that. Still a superstar, man. He controls a lot of assets. Now that's a guy. If I'm just gonna say a top 20 prospect gets you that and then some. So I'm not saying a team's name, but a team that needs a third baseman who's willing to trade for prospects, that would be a target.
Yeah, I don't think he gets traded this winter. I do think he gets traded before he's a free agent. By the way, I have to mention this. We got John Lee. We got Fami. Thank you to the Midwest guys over here, Joe. I feel like we haven't had, like, outside of Eddie, who is like the most loyal follower of all time, and Joey, because I always forget he's out west.
So he watches every show. Larry watches every show.
Yeah, it feels like a very East Coast show. So whenever I get guys from the Central or the West, it's very exciting. We had Shannon was on here earlier. I saw her. So thank you guys for joining. I think this is the best format we can go with, is that, like, maybe every few weeks, maybe once a month, we come on and we do a giant show like this, kind of like just a party.
I do think we'll probably come on a little more frequently than that for the free agent, and because, look, collective bargaining is important, but it's boring. People don't want to hear collective bargaining for 90 minutes.
Yeah, we will not do what we did in 2020, which is every week come on and reiterate the same things about collective bargaining. But if there's free agency, if there's news like that, and there's, we have topics built up, we'll come on, we'll have a show, we'll announce it ahead of time like I did earlier this week. I just don't think there's a need for it to be weekly, especially in the winter. So yeah, I like this. We got a good showing from what I can tell, and we got guys from all over, because I think the 8 p.m. time slot works.
Real quick, I guess a team that hasn't spent big in a while, Milwaukee. I'd like to see them get a nice. I know they're boring. They don't do anything, but they win.
It's not that. No, I agree with that. It's not that. It's that I don't know why they don't spend. Like, I get that they're not a big market team by any means, but you're right. They usually will go and, like, randomly assign some guy to, near $100 million. And they haven't done that in a while. I guess Yelich, but
they traded for him and gave him an extension. So I guess it's not the same as trading for, getting a big free agent,
Yeah. All right. Last guy, because it was brought up here, then we'll go. Javi Baez. And you can't say Mets if you're going to have 3 other guys going to the Mets.
I think someone's gonna overpay for Javi Baez.
Fami brought up earlier, and I saw this rumor too, because I had a bunch of Sox friends send it to me with angry faces, that the Red Sox are in on Javi Baez, which
makes a lot of fucking sense.
It does and it doesn't. Like, he's not the type of profile you generally see in that lineup, but they also just hired Tim Hires.
Which is why he makes sense for them. He plays 2-3 positions if you throw him at third base. He's a plus defender everywhere. He can be an asshole, so he's easily hated when he wants to be.
Yeah, by the way, John Lee, stay here. I have a story on what you just asked real quick, but Boston, he seems like a type of guy who's going to be, like, against the Yankees for the next 5 years.
I could see Carlos Correa going there too, by the way.
I saw the early rumors trading Xander and bringing in Correa. I would actually like that, because I think Bogart's way better player than Correa, and obviously being paid less, but he'll have less control there. Yeah, I don't think it's close, honestly. Xander Bogaerts, to me, I think he has plenty of attention at this point, but he is still underrated. Like he might be a top 3 shortstop in baseball, and the dude does not get that kind of press.
I think I'm gonna call that a push. I think they're the same guy. I think Correa has a little more power. Xander gives you power, but his home and road splits are what does it. I
By the
think
way,
Correa's a little better on defense.
if Detroit misses out on Correa, Javi Baez makes a lot of sense there to me too.
Yeah, he does.
That he's a very Detroit Tigers type of guy to
Not
me.
as flashy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something real quick. I know you didn't have it planned, and I'm gonna make it really quick. I'm gonna run down the Gold Gloves and Silver Slugger awards real quick.
Okay, we have
AL
Trevor
Gold
Story
Glove.
on deck too.
Oh, Trevor Story. Trevor Story.
He's gonna end up on the Yankees. I'm gonna just jump through a window.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm telling you, that is such a classic Yankee thing to do. Hey, we're gonna go after Seager and Correa really hard.
No,
we're considering making the smart decision in Andrelton Simmons, but we're gonna give you Trevor Story to like a mid-tier deal. That's a waste.
I will take Trevor Story on a 5-year deal.
I don't want Trevor Story on an any-year deal.
I agree, but the only way you can sell me on it if it's a 5-year deal, which he won't get a 5-year deal, it'll be much more than that. I don't want Trevor Story in the Yankees.
I think Story's going to stay out west too. I don't have any basis for that. He's never mentioned it, but I feel like he's going to stay out west somewhere.
He's a shortstop in the West.
If the Dodgers lose out on Correa or on Seager, you think they'd consider bringing in Story, or are they just good with Trey Turner?
Trey Turner's the best shortstop in baseball, probably, right?
Well, I mean, they have second and short available. Like they could move someone somewhere.
Gavin Lux. I mean, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's Seager or bust for the Dodgers.
Where's Story going to go? Third base? Who's at third base? Justin Turner still there?
He's old, and I think he's done.
Well, maybe Trevor Story playing third base makes sense.
Yeah.
But he's not moving Gavin Lux from second base. He's definitely not moving Trey Turner from short.
By the way, Chris Taylor, a guy I would strongly consider on the Yankees too.
Yeah.
Forgot about Chris Taylor.
Did he get the qualifying offer?
Yes. No. Yeah, I think he did. Someone tell me. Yeah, let me know if Chris Taylor has a QO.
Yep. Yes, he did. I'm looking at the list now.
Okay.
Yep. I'm less interested in him then.
Yeah, that's a big pill to swallow for Chris Taylor. Especially that's. Stir. I don't know. Maybe our next show, if these guys haven't signed, like while we go into this collective bargaining hell we're going to go into, we can have eventually a prediction show and we'll come better prepared for all this.
Brett Gardner, where does Brett Gardner go?
Retirement, hopefully. Honestly, now that Boone is back, I've lost all faith in them doing the right thing. It would not shock me if they thought he was still a solution.
Brett Gardner. When Brett Gardner gets a Brett Gardner Day at Yankee Stadium, I will be there. I will fight for that man to the end. It is time to hang it up. He's been a great player. He's had a great career.
Absolutely.
Time to hang it up. Give that man a spring training job. Teach these motherfuckers how to run the bases.
By the way, before we'll finish with your Gold Gloves, quickly wanted to address John Lee. Where did Yelich power go? If you subscribe to the bus driver I spoke to in Milwaukee when I was out there, and this guy shocked me with his baseball knowledge. I was like very pleasantly surprised. 90% of the time in my everyday life, if I talk to someone about baseball, I'm like thoroughly disappointed because I'm like, we're not talking the same language. This guy was really smart. and we had a bus ride to the airport or whatever. So I was asking him questions. He told me that Yelich's hip or oblique or whatever his injury was more serious in inner circles than they were letting on. And that he really thinks that that's why his power hasn't come back, but he's still been able to hit for average, which is true. So if you subscribe to that, maybe Yelich's power can come back next year. I think if it doesn't come back next year, that ship has sailed and he's a product of juice balls. There's no in between for me. It's one or the other.
You know what? Real quick, who's going to be the player that we argue is having a one singular better year than Mike Trout, and they want to be crowned the best player in baseball? Is it a healthy Acuna? Juan Soto? I'm going to say Wander Franco.
Wait, rephrase the question. You're saying
every year we have a player having this fucking monster season, whether it be Mookie Betts, Christian Yelich. We go through this every year. A player has a monster season, and Mike Trout has your typical Mike Trout season, and everyone says player X who had this monster season is better than Mike Trout. Who's going to be that guy this year?
in 2022.
2022.
Well, it's got to be the AL, or just anyone in baseball. Or you're talking about? For
Yeah,
like
yeah, because they
MVP?
always say
Okay.
that this is the best player in baseball.
I'm gonna stick with Soto. Wander Franco.
They wander.
Wander Franco is gonna have that claim for a long time. I'm very hesitant about sophomore seasons.
I think Wander Franco leaps into superstar status next year. Like I'm talking Fernando Tatis type shit.
Wouldn't shock me at all.
And then I think the third year he makes his ascent to the best player in the game.
See, to me, Juan Soto is at the point of his career now, and he's what, like 23.
22, yeah.
He's like in his fourth or fifth year. He started in 2019, right? So 19, 20, 21. He's in his fourth year. I think he's just I think the numbers you saw this year is going to be his next 10 years.
Which is crazy because his numbers really took off from the second half. He had a bad first half. And he ended where he ended at having a monster second half, which is absurd to think about.
And when I say his numbers, I don't necessarily mean the power. I think there's room for that to improve. I mean, is like his crazy, like 460 on base percentage. I don't think that's going anywhere. I think that's going to be what he is. So that now Wander Franco, I think will eventually be that type of player too. It's just the sophomore something. Luis Robert, if he can stay healthy, absolutely great suggestion. And John Lee saying Jose Ramirez, which I think is always a fair. Dude, yeah, he's capable of putting up an MVP season any year. So those are all good suggestions. Give me your Gold Gloves.
Ah, yes, Gold Gloves. Sean Murphy, Yuli Gurriel, Marcus Semien, Matt Chapman, Carlos Correa, Andrew Benintendi, Michael Taylor, Joey Gallo, Dallas Keuchel. And the team Gold Glove went to the Astros, and the Platinum Glove went to Carlos Correa, not Matt Chapman.
Platinum Glove is the best overall defender, right?
Best overall defender.
Ray had a great year defensively.
Yeah.
National offensively League, too, but
future Yankee Jacob Stallings, Paul Goldschmidt, Tommy Edman, which I love that he's getting some love. I'm not going to third base because he got jerked. Brandon Crawford, Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader, Adam Duvall, Max Fried, and Cardinals as a team, and Platinum Glove. Let's skip that.
I am shocked, honestly, that Brandon Crawford, I know he had a great year. I'm not saying he's not deserving. I'm shocked that he rose to the level of a Gold Glove caliber shortstop.
I don't think that's his first one. I think he has more than one Gold Glove.
I agree with you, but then all of the Giants, there's like a 5-year gap where they just stopped being productive. So I'm impressed. He's not a young guy.
I don't disagree with any of these Silver Sluggers. American League, Sal Perez given Vlad, Simeon, Devers, Bogarts, Teoscar Hernandez, which he had a monster year, Aaron Judge, Cedric Mullins, and Shohei Ohtani at DH. Buster Posey, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, MVP candidate. Fernando Tatis, another MVP candidate. Juan Soto, MVP candidate. Bryce Harper, who will probably win the award. Nicholas Castellanos, and Max Fried. Why do they even bother giving Silver Sluggers some fucking pitcher slot? Get out of here.
It's awesome, by the way. And if you're not a Braves fan or you hate the Braves, you can take a very, very, very small solace in this. When Bryce Harper wins the MVP award, it's going to drive Braves fans nuts. Don't ask me why. Would every Braves fan I've ever spoken to hates Bryce Harper? Probably because he's on the Nationals and then the Phillies. So that will scratch their ass the wrong way when he wins the MVP, especially because they have Freeman and Riley and lost Acuna. And if you ask Braves fans, any one of them should win the MVP.
I'm still laughing that they give a fucking picture of the Silver Slugger.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And Ozzie Albies is credit. Yeah, they had 7 MVP candidates, and none of them are going to win. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Who won Silver Slugger for pitching?
Max Fried.
Was he that good of a hitter?
We're talking about a fucking pitcher. I don't know.
I was looking at I feel like I don't know. Like Bumgarner probably didn't. Yeah, not him anymore. I know there's a few pitchers though who can. He doesn't come to mind as one of those guys.
Pitchers, come on.
Yeah. Well, hey, according to NL Legacy fans, that's the most exciting thing in the world.
I wonder, didn't he get a pinch hit in the World Series?
Yes.
I wonder if that has something to do with it.
He solely won it based on that.
Yeah. Because it's a fucking pitcher spot. Who wants to give the pitcher Silver Slugger? This was fun.
Surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, DeGrom, he can hit a little bit. Yeah, Greinke, another guy, but he's in the AL. Yeah, anyway. All right, well, there. I don't have a problem.
Yeah, you know what? I'd rather give it to Jake DeGrom, who like hit in April and in May for like what all pitchers hit for the whole season. Give this shit to Jacob DeGrom.
I can't imagine like Jacob DeGrom. You had a sub-1 ERA. You didn't. If you told me in May Jake DeGrom's not going to win Cy Young, he's not going to win MVP, he's not going to win Silver Slugger, and the Mets are not going to make the playoffs, I wouldn't. I'm as hard on the Mets as anyone. I would not have believed you.
Yeah.
Tough year for Jake DeGrom.
I was mad. I was disappointed. I wanted to see if he could keep that pace up because we were seeing some historic shit.
We both said that. I wanted to see if he was going to be in Bob Gibson / Pedro Martinez territory.
Every start was getting better and better. And to his credit, as the publicity got bigger, he got better.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
he started to look somewhat human his last couple of starts there.
Right.
And when I say somewhat human, I mean his ERA was going towards 1.
Of course.
but yeah, if Jacob DeGrom was like that 3 years ago, I think we really would have seen definitely the best season since Pedro, maybe the best season since Gibson. I really believe that. I think he was on that kind of.
Like I kept saying when we were talking about it, when it was happening, please, people, give Bob Gibson and Pedro Martinez their flowers because those seasons were absolutely incredible.
Yeah, to do that an entire year is out of control.
Yeah.
And to John Lee said DeGrom fastball, we 107 next season. Yeah, and he'll still have his teammates saying that it's just a God-given natural talent.
And we'll have Sean saying that his velocity has always been this, but you know.
Yeah, it's because he keeps tweaking those mechanics to be even more perfect every single season.
Has nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah, that cracks me up. That's a good joke. Anyway, so yeah, this will do it for Dong City. We'll be back. We'll let you know when. It'll be on a Wednesday at 8 p.m. I'm sure. But we'll be keeping up with Hot Stove. We have, man, now I really don't know the show times. We already covered Step Back. You have the Audible. If you're not a member of Football Life yet, please join if you like football. Randy Hammond, Matt Bushnell, the Audible on Tuesdays, 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Tuesdays, 8 p.m.
Which they did not talk about Debo Samuel. I was so fucking mad. I missed yesterday's show. I was busy making.
They spurned you.
I was like, Debo went off on national TV. They got to show Debo Samuel some love, and those guys didn't. I'm going to YouTube and make a comment. Damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got the Work Shoot Wrestling podcast Thursdays and the Step Back on Fridays, and Total Bases on Sunday.
Total Bases Sundays. 11 a.m., 10 a.m. It tends to vary. It's usually around mid-morning.
And we have Austin's podcast, who is a contributor to the Baseball Life. So
yes. And by the way, if you're not in Pop Culture Life, join that. We have our holiday movie. It's turned into a Christmas movie bracket going on. Austin is helping to run that. He's actually running the high majority of it. And Jake Schwartz and I will be on in Pop Culture Life on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time to go over the next round of that bracket. So we're voting now. It's going to be down from 32 to 16. So we'll be going over the Sweet 16. Yeah. Come feel free to join us. We will be in Sunday, 8 p.m. Pop Culture Life. Join there, and we'll make our picks to get to the. So we'll let you know what the Sweet 16 is, and we'll make our picks to get to the Elite 8.
All right, guys. Well, that's it.
That's it. That'll do it for Dong City. Join us next time, everyone. Have a great night.
Dong City, bitches.